Hello guys, welcome to another Source Gaming Discussion. This is your host, PushDustIn. Joining me today is special guest RogersBase.
Hi, what's going on, everybody?
And NantenJex, the video lead for Source Gaming.
Hey, hello everyone.
And as well as Spazzy D, the article lead for Source Gaming.
Hey everybody.
And today we'll be talking about the GameBlog Rumor. This is a rumor that was posted way back in October, and it's starting to gain a little bit of traction because it has gotten quite a bit of things correct. Most notably, it was the first place to post the rabbit's information, a little different than what it...
Yeah. The original listed it as a Yoshi cross Rabbids game, and it didn't really give much details. It wasn't until Laura Kate Dale expanded on it that we knew more about it.
Yeah. But anyway, looking at the number of claims, which were translated by our friend Luigi Blood, it's about a 30% correct rate right now, with about, I believe, 4% wrong, and the rest is unknown or still up in the air because it's...
Right. There was just a massive amount, though. This is just like...
Yeah, they have 72 claims.
Yeah. Right, so...
Yeah, I'm looking on this list right now, and there's so many things in here that are just like... I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah, like, it got some interesting things right. Like, it got what Nintendo's projected amount of Switch sales for March would be, and this came out at the beginning of October, so before they had announced that. And it also got Fire Emblem Warriors, and it got some of the ports that were coming out.
Like, it got a lot of its marketing right.
Yeah, and I think there's some like other random stuff that there's just things that could have been guessed, but I mean, still counts towards it. Like that there would be a Xenoblade, and it would be a new Xenoblade, and it would be more narrative focused. Which the new game does seem more like a sequel to the first game, which did have more of a narrative flow than X. So I don't know. I mean,
so one of the things that I thought was really interesting is some of the claims could technically be true, or it could be based on real information. I don't know if you guys remember this, but a couple days before the Switch presentation, the developer information got leaked onto the internet, and it gave like extensive details about the developer kits for the Switch. Because of that, like there's some claims in this that might have been derived from that fact.
Like what are examples of those?
For example, the fact that there was the GameBlog Rumor suggested that there would be 2 SKU units. There are 2 separate developer kits.
Okay, that's interesting. Do we actually know of what the differences were? Was one just one that ran at higher power?
One was closer to the retail unit.
Interesting.
I feel like, in terms of SKUs, I don't think they're going to split it for at least a year. And I've always kind of been of the mindset that I think there's going to be 2 in the future. I think, for sure, we're probably going to get something where it's like a Switch Lite, where maybe the Joy-Cons don't come off of the system, and it sort of is like the next portable. The only thing going against that right now is that now we have the new 2DS XL, and it seems like they are actually keeping both the DS line and the Switch, which is kind of bizarre, but I'm also okay with that. And the only other SKU that I was thinking of before that was maybe like in about 2 years or so, them just releasing a new dock, like a 4K dock, that allows you to like stream your games in 4K. Beyond that, I don't really think they need to change it up all that much. I think there might be different iterations or bundles with special little Joy-Cons depending on future games, but beyond that, I think what we've got right now is fine.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's exactly what it's doing. So the 2DS XL is like the Game Boy Micro. I know a lot.
Yeah,
of
Game Boy Micro came out a year
DSi,
after
Yeah.
the DS.
That's coming out now just for the 3DS's final year, and then yeah, in like 2-3 years we'll get a new Switch, maybe one that's portable only, or yeah, maybe the 4K dock.
Yeah.
So some of these rumors on this list are wrong though. I think it's worth bringing that up. Stuff like it said that Miiverse would be on the Switch, and that it would be possible to transfer certain data from the Wii U to the Switch, and it said online would be free, which it obviously is right now, but won't be.
Yeah, no.
So there are ways to kind of explain this, like if the developer, if the leaker wasn't from inside Nintendo themselves, they might not be aware of stuff like Miiverse or the free online. Like that doesn't seem like stuff that they would need to know.
The thing is, like, with the leaked developer information, there's no mention of Miiverse or any online functionality. And that information would be present in those documents if it...
I'm looking on here, and there's a lot of stuff that's listed as unknown, but I actually see something on there that's straight up false that is listed as unknown, which is the new and old IP by Retro being ready for launch, which was totally false.
Oh,
so
yeah.
there was no Retro game at launch, and it certainly wasn't a Donkey Kong Country or a Metroid Prime. I do think if we do see Retro's game, it'll probably be at E3, because we have not seen what they've been working on for a long time, and we know they recently had a hiring rush. They're probably working on 2 projects right now, so if we don't see one of them at E3, I'm actually genuinely concerned about what's going on with Retro.
One of the reasons we left that unknown is because there's been like a lot of signs that games like Mario Kart were ready for launch, and Mario Odyssey might have been ready for launch, and then Nintendo just delaying them. And the same thing could be happening to one of Retro games, because yeah, you're right, they've been in development for ages.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo's been working on games. I mean, just look at the library of games that was released the last year of the Wii U. So they probably have quite a bit going on. I mean, they've repeatedly said they don't want a software drought, so I wouldn't doubt at all that they have things ready that they're holding off.
Yeah.
The build date, I think, wasn't that December?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of these more unknown ones. I think there's one in particular that interests us as Source Gaming, if we want to start with that. I'm sorry, the Rayman.
The Rayman, oh yes. So going off the Ubisoft section of the rumors, there is a strange crossover with Yoshi and Rabbids, which is almost basically confirmed at this point. And going off of that, they also say that Nintendo's negotiating Rayman for Smash. That's kind of that really has me worried right now. Not that I don't.
Yeah,
mind
I'm putting that under. I'll believe it when I see it.
Not that I don't mind Rayman and Smash or anything like that, but it's just like.
Plus, with the crossover games, who knows? Ubisoft might try and push for Rabbids instead.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be awful. That would be it. That would be the darkest timeline.
Yeah, I would not want the Rabbids.
A couple days ago, I posted a poll on Twitter where I said, like, if Ubisoft got a character in, who would it be? The choices was Rayman, an assassin from Assassin's Creed, and Rabbids, and almost everyone voted for Rayman. Everyone wants Rayman, but I'm worried that it's Rabbids.
Yeah, my vote would go towards anything that's not Ubisoft. Is what my vote would be. I don't want a Ubisoft. Put in like Bomberman or put in. Yeah, Simon Belmont or literally anything other than Rayman and the Rabbids.
The other Ubisoft rumor is that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is an exclusive as long as the Switch keeps getting sales. Like, if it drops off like the Wii U did, then they'll move Beyond Good and Evil 2 to all platforms. For now, it's an exclusive. And I think this stuff we've heard from people before.
Yeah, Laura Catedale, I think, actually was saying that Nintendo has put money into the development of that title.
Yep.
So, based off that, if it does...
Well, she's been pretty on track, so...
Yeah, I would imagine that one's pretty accurate. I think Nintendo would be smart if that's the case, and I tweeted this last week, to pull a Bayonetta and include the first game with Part 2. If GameCube Virtual Console's a thing, that game was on GameCube, so there you go.
Well, the GameCube Virtual Console one is interesting to bring up because some of the rumors on this suggest that Nintendo is looking to make HD versions of Nintendo 64 and GameCube games and Wii games. And 2 of the games they list is Mario Sunshine HD and Skyward Sword HD. And Skyward Sword I can 100% see happening. Like, with everyone having a Joy-Con which has motion controls in it, then they don't have to bundle a separate controller with it, so it's easy. But Mario Sunshine HD seems weird. Like, I could see it happening.
Especially if we end up getting Virtual Console for GameCube.
Yeah, right. That's why. Because I can see it happening because they remade Super Mario 64, and then that team remade Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. And so Sunshine seems like the next logical step. But with the Virtual Console version of it coming out, why would anyone buy that if the HD version or vice versa?
And as far as anything with that game in particular, that needs analog triggers.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't play that game. You can't even like approximate that with button pushes. I mean, there's some things you could do. I think Nintendo, as far as GameCube ports and Virtual Console goes, they kind of screwed themselves by not having analog triggers, which it just seems like a really it's such an industry standard. It seems like such a weird choice. And Nintendo always does that. Nintendo always has like one or two things that you're like, well, why didn't they do this? And that's definitely one for this one.
Yeah.
Man, as we're going down this list, this sounds like a pipe dream at this point. Like, there's so much stuff that's on here that reads like Nintendo fan fiction, where it's just like, oh, my uncle told me that we're getting Skyward Sword HD and Sunshine HD and Mario Odyssey, and we're also gonna get like Galaxy 3, and there's gonna be a new retro game, and actually they have 3 retro games, and we're gonna have Bayonetta. It's like, all right, like, calm down a bit, buddy. You know, like, one thing at a time.
Yeah.
You know.
It was just it's just like an overwhelming amount of just stuff that some dude was talking. But
yeah. And it just seems like so much of this is just thrown at the wall that, like, something's bound to be true, you know? But,
yeah, there's a Capcom versus Nintendo, and he claims it's a serious project. But considering Marvel versus Capcom seems to be the serious project, I don't think they'd be working on that and Capcom versus Nintendo at the same time.
I'm actually, whenever anybody talks about the Smash port, I'm always a little hesitant to really believe that, especially because Harada and the Tekken team recently had an interview where they said, well, like, we haven't even seen a Switch. They're like, we don't have a dev kit, and whenever we try to go to a store to buy one, they're sold out. And I'm like, well, if there was a team at Namco working on a Smash port, I'm pretty sure you could walk over to them and see it. So that has me thinking, maybe.
And that knocks out the rumor that's in here, too, about Tekken 7, because if they don't have a dev kit, how are they going to port over Tekken 7?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. I mean, yeah, Harada's definitely said he did one of those. Hey, I'm not counting it out, but we're not working on it recently. Which, you know, if there was a version, they would say it.
I believe Capcom said the same thing about Resident Evil 7.
I honestly think that there's, and I mean, I don't have any actual knowledge on this, but just from reading interviews and listening to things, I feel like there's a limited number of Switch dev kits out in the wild compared to a lot of other systems.
I think Nintendo's just having a hard time keeping up with demand right now, with just retail.
Yeah, which is why I don't think that we're getting those Capcom retro collections on there. I don't think that team has... What's the team? Eclipse? Digital Eclipse? Yeah. They do like the Mega Man Legacy Collection and the Disney Afternoon Collection. People are always on Capcom about that. I'm like, well, Capcom's not actually the company doing that. They're the publishers for it.
And that would explain why the Disney Afternoon Collection wasn't on Switch, too, because so many people were like, well, that doesn't make any sense. It's perfect for Switch. You're probably right. It's probably they didn't have a dev kit.
Yeah. Although it doesn't explain why they're not on 3DS. Especially because the original
that's true.
Better on 3DS. But that's another topic.
Yeah.
Of the ports that are on this list, though, there's one other one that I think, if any of these ports are true, I have a strong feeling this one might be. And it's the company that we haven't even talked about yet, and that's Square Enix.
Okay.
And I've heard rumblings from a lot of people that Final Fantasy 15 Switch exists, and that is a port that's coming. That's like a Game of the Year edition with all the episode of DLC. I 100% believe that. And when I read that on here, I'm like, yeah, that's no surprise to me. In fact, I think we could get that as early as E3, honestly. I could see them sort of making a surprise announcement.
I think the Switch is a great platform for that. Breath of the Wild kind of established a user base for kind of big open world RPG style gameplay.
Yeah.
So I think it'll do really well with any sort of games like that. I'm curious to see how the Skyrim port will do, because I mean, it's just a port, and everyone's played that wants to play Skyrim by now has played it. But I might double or even triple dip for it, just because, yeah, man, I'm gonna be, you know, flying out here or there, doing whatever. It's nice to have it as a portable.
Yeah. No, Final Fantasy 15 is one that I 100% think is happening. Final Fantasy 7, I don't think is happening at all.
I like how we put Pac-Man on here.
Just as an eShop title, it's like, well, that seems pretty safe. At some point, we're gonna have a Pac-Man game. That's like.
Be anything. But the Square one was interesting. It's just like Kingdom Hearts is being thought of and considered is working to look with Monolith Soft and Mistwalker and Final Fantasy team. That one seems really randomly. We're going to use all of the developers to make a game.
It's going to be the best game ever.
Well, like you guys mentioned in the comments on this one, Octopath is being made by the Bravely Default team. There's like potentially one of the other exclusive games from Square Enix. So that doesn't necessarily need to be Monolith Soft or Mistwalker working with them.
Yeah.
One thing I will say about him saying that online was free, he did say in the same comment that there would be a subscription service to rent virtual console games.
Yeah.
Which kind of is what the subscription service is, so
But
I don't even know.
But
For the online service.
we have not heard anything about the virtual console yet.
We also don't know anything about the online system.
Yeah.
For people that are saying, Miiverse is 100% gone, and because he said
That's true.
Miiverse is, as we know it, gone. But what we have right now, there's no way that what we have for the Switch is what the online's going to look like in a year. It's so bare bones.
Yeah.
There's like nothing there. That I could definitely see them adapting some more of Miiverse style functionality for it. Not necessarily the commenting and stuff, because I think now that you have the integration with social media, like if you just tweet or make a Facebook post, you don't really need that as much. But I think a lot of it might come back. I really don't know. So
One thing I thought was kind of interesting was the achievement system, because there have been achievements in the mobile games, but nothing with the Switch so far.
The system's in place though, right? With My Nintendo, where if they wanted to, they could do that. They could implement like an achievement per game just via your My Nintendo that gives you gold coins or whatever.
Yeah,
So that, that wouldn't be too much of a shock for me.
Yeah, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think on the My Nintendo site there's even like a tab for Switch-based achievements. Like Switch-based missions, and it's just coming soon, it says on it.
I'm curious, just while we're on the topic of My Nintendo and mobile games, do you guys think we're at all going to get a port of something like maybe Fire Emblem Heroes to the Switch? Where then you would be able to log into your same account that's on your phone, but you'd be able to like play it on the TV?
See, I thought for a long time that like when Nintendo initially announced the mobile game strategy, I thought that they would have like really deep connection with their mobile games and their actual games. Like in the mobile game, you would do like a certain task, and it would help you in the main game. Like for example, with the Animal Crossing mobile game, you could like pick weeds and like deliver paracels or whatever, but that will actually impact your actual Animal Crossing game on the Switch. That's how I always wanted the mobile games to work.
Well, the popular rumor going around is that the Animal Crossing game is having like struggles with its development.
Yeah.
That I know like tons of sites have reported on that and stuff, is that like apparently the game was not fun, so they tried to retool it, and the game is still not fun, which is why we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious what that's going to end up being. Maybe, yeah. Pulling Weeds, the minigame for your phone.
I feel like with Fire Emblem Heroes, it was clearly designed for mobile use, and I don't know how well that would work on the Switch. I am wondering if Fire Emblem for Switch will integrate it in some way, but I'm not holding my breath.
Well, I can tell you one thing. If Fire Emblem for Switch has a waifu system, there is no way that there will not be an in-game event in Fire Emblem Heroes where you can get the waifus from the Switch game. There's no way they're going to pass that up.
they should just give you a bunch of orbs if you buy the game.
Yeah.
Just put a code in and get some
There
orbs.
you go. That would get everybody to buy it.
And there was the 2D Mega Man revival. And interestingly on that one, it said Nintendo would be willing to...
Said development team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of gives me the Bomberman situation where Nintendo helped fund it. Like, they'd be willing to help fund a new Mega Man from Capcom. Well, yeah, they did Momotaro Tensetsu, but they did that themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They should just keep taking things from Konami that they don't plan on using.
There you go.
I don't know, because I can almost guarantee that we'll see a Mega Man game soon, but I can also almost guarantee that it'll be for the crappy-looking new show that's coming out. It'll be like, the ghostly adventures of Mega Man. Yeah. Oh, here's another one that's totally not real. Mario Kart 8 Switch adds an item switch option like Double Dash. That is not true.
Nope, not true.
I was gonna say, a lot of people said that the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, like a lot of people were claiming it would be like Double Dash. Because they just saw the two items and were like, oh, it's like Double Dash. But it's not.
Yeah, I was just going to mention the Netflix video streaming thing. I think that's another thing that's probably going to come once we know more about the online. I would be shocked if at the very least we don't get Netflix and Crunchyroll. I mean,
And
those are two
YouTube.
companies that have always had a long partnership, and YouTube, yeah. But those are companies that have always had partnerships with Nintendo, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. And I think that would actually be like a cool sell if you had Netflix on your Switch, and yeah, you're at like a Starbucks or something. You just connect to the Wi-Fi and watch your shows, and then switch to playing, you know, Zelda Breath of the Wild or something. That'd be kind of nice.
Yeah, no, I think the very fact you can get them on 3DS, you can get them on Wii U, it's going to come to Switch eventually.
Yeah, and Nintendo has also a good partnership with Nico Nico in Japan.
So it's
Yeah.
just until when the online comes, I reckon.
Like, you can even log in with Nico Nico with your Nintendo account. Do you guys have any final thoughts before we start wrapping this up?
The Kingdom Hearts thing,
Yeah.
because we kind of like skipped past that. The Square Enix thing, I think there's no chance in hell that we're getting Kingdom Hearts. Just because that game it's been worked on for so long, and we still have seen so little of that game, and I feel like it's probably not even really getting into development until about maybe like 3 months ago. I feel like now they're really ramping up development for it. I think when it was announced, it was pretty much like saying, hey, we're going to really start developing this game soon. Like when we saw that trailer at E3 2 years ago, and then I think last year, or like I said, even a couple months ago, is when they really started development. So I don't think even PS4 is going to get it until like late next year. And I also don't think it's coming to Switch, despite the fact that it's on Unreal Engine. I don't know. I don't see it happening. I would love it to happen. I would love to be proven wrong, but I do not see that becoming a thing.
PS5 launch game.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
you know what I just kind of realized about that stupid Nintendo's looking to work in collaboration with Monolith Soft, Mistwalker, and the Final Fantasy team to make a unlikely game?
Yeah.
I feel like that's just trying to be a hint towards Chrono Trigger. Because the Chrono Trigger staff has...
Oh,
But dude, the Chrono Trigger staff went to Mistwalker and Monolith Soft.
Oh.
Yeah.
that's true.
So I think that's what he was trying to hint at.
Yeah. Well, you mean that's why he listed it that way specifically, so people were like, "Wow, this rumor is total bullshit."
Yeah.
Like that's why he listed it that way, so people immediately didn't pick up that it was Chrono Trigger he was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you said Chrono Trigger, you'd be like, "That's bullshit." You're like, "Oh, what could this be?"
Exactly. Yeah. I just thought of something though. The unlikely Square port could have been the Seiken Densetsu games. They have that Secret of Mana collection coming
yeah,
out.
That's true.
A lot of people did not see that coming.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
So that could have been the unexpected IP revival.
Yeah. My kind of final thoughts. I know you wanted to talk about the other thing. But just looking at this, I feel like this is just a dude that had some legitimate information and then just started talking about whatever and filling in the blanks any way he could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure if any of their Platinum Games stuff is accurate. It lists a new and old IP and specifically name drops Star Tropics as being like the old IP being revived, and I don't think that's a thing. I mean, if anyone's going to do it, it's probably Retro, but the game never released in Japan. I don't think Nintendo cares about it. So it was on the NES Mini, but I think Nintendo of America decided which games would be on the NES Mini, and Star Tropics is popular over here. So I don't think that one's true.
Yeah, I wonder if Retro actually said, "Hey, you want to do a Star Tropics game?" If Nintendo would be like, do another Donkey Kong game," or if they would actually give them the...
It'd probably
Yeah.
be like, what's
Do you
Star
want to keep your
Tropics?
jobs? Let's do something that sells.
You know what I want, guys? I really, really want Retro Studios developed Clue Land. Really badly. I think that would be a masterpiece.
First person, gritty underwater adventure.
Oh,
Clearly, it
it'd
would
be
be
incredible.
a team-based shooter of some sort.
Okay, so I guess my final question is: do you guys believe? Spazzy, do you want to start?
I mean, it's basically what I just said before. I believe that this dude had... He definitely had, when you look at it, the information in regards to the specs and hardware, he definitely had real information on the hardware. Some of his software stuff is coming true, and some of it's a little unlikely, like the fact that there was anything involving Rabbids and the Mario franchise. But after that, I think he just took everything that he had heard from anyone, like some dude on a bus or anything, and just started listing off everything that he heard. He's like, and I had a dream, and in the dream, there was Kingdom Hearts, so I'm pretty sure that's a sign that, yeah. So, I will say that he definitely had some information, but I think it just kind of devolved into a rant at some point. Also, if you watch the video, it's just him talking a lot, so.
How about you, Raj?
Yeah, no, I I don't believe this. No, I think exactly what you just said. I think it's like the hardware stuff. Yeah, he probably had that information, and then he just pulled stuff from his dreams, or like wanted to write some Nintendo fan fiction and put the rest of this together. I mean, like, I have dreams about Nintendo announcements all the time, but you don't see me tweeting out that Hamtaro is going to be in Smash Brothers, or that we're going to get like a Nintendogs game featuring the urchins from Zelda. Like, it's, you know, it's not going to happen. So, as much as I would love like a new Chrono Trigger game with the original team, or like a Tekken 7 port, or getting Kingdom Hearts, like all that stuff would be great, sure. Or like an IP revival like Clu Clu Land or something cool. I don't believe like most of this, because I'm looking at this list, and just like what you mentioned, all the hardware stuff is pretty much correct. But as soon as we go into like literally every developer, everything is either unknown or fake beyond the launch and marketing stuff. So that should just tell you right there. And I think like some of the stuff that was confirmed within the developer stuff is just obvious stuff, like a new Xenoblade for Switch. Like, oh no shit, really? A new Xenoblade? I'm shocked. Or like under Tecmo Koei, where it's more Muso games are coming. I would have never guessed that in a million years, even though they publicly announced that they're working on more Muso games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not buying the software stuff for a second.
I think for me, I think the guy probably had sources within Ubisoft. And so I think the Ubisoft stuff, which has the Yoshi's and Rabbids game, is probably somewhat true. Not 100% sure on the Rayman for Smash. It really depends who his source is. But Ubisoft, fine. The hardware stuff as well, fine, because he probably saw a dev kit or got described a dev kit. But yeah, all of the software from all the other Japanese developers, how is he knowing that? Who is his source? Like, how could he get stuff from Capcom, Square, Bandai Namco, etc.? It just seems too unlikely. And yeah.
To be fair, I don't even believe the Beyond Good and Evil thing. Like, I don't even believe that. And then the stuff with Yoshi and Rabbids, like, every was saying there was Yoshi and Rabbids.
This guy was the first.
Laura K. Dale said that.
Yeah.
Oh, he was the very first one?
Very first guy, yeah.
I feel like maybe he got his information from somebody who also shared that information with all the other people who said it. And then they were like, well, we want to collaborate our sources first. And this guy was just like, Yoshi and Rabbids, let's go. And then he like posted it up immediately. Because because that's the only way I see that happening.
It was at least
the Beyond Good and Evil thing even seems like a stretch to me.
Yeah, this was well, I mean, like Laura Kate and everyone else and not everyone else, and a few other leakers are also very big on the Beyond Good and Evil thing. But I mean, we'll see as far as that goes.
Yeah.
As far as like this was at least a week before Laura Kate broke it. Because I remember we were talking about this, or maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it was. But I remember we were talking about this, and we had some of the French speakers from our site kind of decipher it, and I remember hearing that and being like, "That's the stupidest thing I ever heard."
Yeah.
So that's why I remember, because I'm like, Yoshi and Rabbids. Now Mario and Rabbids, that's sensible, but Yoshi.
Okay, well, I think that wraps up our discussion. So where can people find you?
You can find me at RogersBase on Twitter, on Instagram, on Twitch, and most importantly on YouTube. I do gaming videos and lots of anime videos. Mostly anime videos for this month because all the different shows came back. So Attack on Titan and My Hero Academia, One Piece is entering a new arc, so I've been doing lots of those. But yeah, come next month, there's going to be a lot of Nintendo content from me, so look forward to that.
Check out the description for links to all of our social media. We also post daily on sourcegaming.info, so check us out there for news, translations, editorials, discussions, and more, straight from the source.